Okay, live streaming started, and I'll record it separately as a backup, but it is recording. It's just I additionally record it as a backup whenever you're ready to start.
Okay, we need a quorum. We need a quorum first, right?
And you just got it with Veronica.
Veronica's here.
Oh, okay.
So do you want me to start the recording then?
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Veronica, how are you?
I'm going to start the recording then.
Great.
Yep, good.
Perfect. Okay. So today's the meeting, Tuesday, June 14th at 7:30 p.m. of the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee meeting. We have in attendance Naomi, Eli, and Veronica. We have one person, it seems, in the gallery, and Jeremy's on. Can we just get started?
Yes.
Okay, great. Jeremy, we have June 2021 minutes review. I think those were probably, I got to look it up again, but I think they may have been reviewed via email and we all agreed to it. It might have been posted. If not, if we have a draft of it, if we can send it out, we can review it again and put it out. It's been a while since our last meeting. So maybe everybody can refresh. I'll look into my notes also and see where we the last minutes.
The last minutes that Jeremy sent out were sent out on May 16th, about 4:50 p.m. If that helps.
2021, right?
2022.
2022.
May 16th, 2022. I'm sorry, that's the agenda. That's not it.
Yes, that's the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, the minutes I have to look into and see where we were at the last one. I was pretty sure that we had sent out an email around to everyone about the minutes to get approved, and we may have done that, but I gotta again follow up and see on the minutes.
Okay, yeah. It's the April 19th, 2022 minutes.
April 19th, 2022. Do we have a meeting in April of 2022? No, we didn't. This is actually our first meeting this year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and they were attached to public safety. I'm sorry, that's not it either. I'm sorry. Public safety. I'm trying to go through all my emails, see if I can help out.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not do that exercise now. I'll look through it and I should be able to find it. So for the minutes, we'll get back to that and I'll follow up. And as for the second item on, we do have a complaint to review. The complaint came from a person of the public. In this particular instance, the person also had an allegation against myself on this. And so for that reason, I'm recusing myself from anything being reviewed. Naomi, as co-chair, is going to pick up on that. So Naomi, you want to?
Yes. So, you know, did the other board members on the committee review the complaints?
Yes.
Okay. And in my opinion, in reviewing the complaints and looking at our bylaws and looking at what these complaints are about, it doesn't seem to match what this committee standards are for, or the criteria for this committee. Does anyone else agree or disagree?
About that, yeah.
Okay. So I would like to dismiss these complaints. I would like to call for a vote. Anyone second?
Second.
Any objections? So the complaints are dismissed at this time. And we can, John, I will talk to you after the meeting or at another time. I'd like to talk to you about some setting some standards?
Yes, absolutely. I think, every complaint will be reviewed. We will follow up with a formal letter to the complainant, stating that, the action that has been taken by the committee. Great. Leah, let's talk about some rapid tightening up, and I agree, Naomi, to tighten up some of the criteria that we should fall under. And for, there are EEO, there are other things. I think we should be clear on the guidelines that we will
Correct.
review. And, this is not just a forum for, I don't like this person, or they looked at me
Correct.
funny and now we want to complain.
Right.
We review complaints that have material damage or effect. The person suffered damages, humiliation, or any of these things. But if it's an argument between two people or a conversation that got elevated between two people, we're adults here. As long as no one disrespects each other, we can agree to disagree, or disagree and get into an argument. Doesn't mean anything wrong with that, or meaning it's not the most nice thing to happen, but there's nothing illegal, violation, or anything of such. And forums are set up so people can debate and talk to each other and address and express each other's opinions. And nobody's, going to say what my opinion should be or your opinion should be. We all have the right to express it. That being said, we can go into the gallery session.
Okay, so everyone will have 2 minutes in the gallery section.
I think, Naomi, I think right now, as our bylaws, or whatever it is that is the rule, I think there is no 2-minute limit, but we should, that's a great point that you just bring up. I think we should,
We can set it if you like. I don't know if you want to. We can
yeah,
set it at the meeting.
I think we should propose it.
Okay.
I think we should propose it and then maybe vote on it when we have a bigger, maybe our next meeting or so, let people talk about it. But at this point, I would
Okay.
just say let the gallery session, and I think it's a great point. I think we should limit it to 2 minutes. But let's let this one go, and then we'll do it for the next meeting, and we'll vote on it. We'll do the proposal. I'll get details from Jeremy,
Okay.
and see what the formal route is.
Okay, sounds good.
To do that. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Do we have someone from that the gallery?
Yes, my name is Roxanne Delgado. I have a question because I couldn't hear too well. A plane was passing by. Was the complaint you were just reviewing dismissed?
That's correct.
And
Yes,
what was the reason behind the dismissal?
It did not warrant anything to be reviewed. There was no violations that were set apart. That's what Ms. Pemberton just explained. There's nothing here to be reviewed that violated any conduct or any EEO rules or regulations.
Okay, I couldn't hear, like I said, because the plane was passing overhead. Okay, so I want to mention the fact is that because when there's violation of the bylaws and I bring it up to the community board leadership per email, it's ignored, and then I'm being told by the staff to bring it up to ethics committee. But I'm like, why would this be an ethics committee if isn't it the leadership committee of community board 11 that should be making sure that its own bylaws are being followed by staff and other members of the board? And second, when FOIL is blatantly ignored by the staff, and then by FOIL law, I have a 10-day appeal process, and then tell me to go to ethics committee when you don't meet within a month, and then there's no response to why my appeal was denied. Because per FOIL law, it states that I have to receive a determination letter by an appeals person within that same agency stating that it was reviewed and the reasoning behind their determination whether it was in my favor or not. So I want to know, when there's a violation of the bylaws, what is the process? When there's a violation of FOIL, what is the process? When there's a violation of open meetings law, what is the process? When there's a violation of the board's own code of conduct, what is the process? When there's a repeated
All right, you gotta okay, hold, slow down.
when there's a repeated retaliation towards me because of my complaints and my difference of opinion or advocacy, what is my course of action? Thank you. These are my questions, and I can repeat them if you need me to.
So as far as your suggestion, if there's something being violated that's pertaining to the bylaws, you can make that report out to the complaint board or to the community board in general. We will review it. I know for the FOIL, same thing. I think you are the only person that foils us more than anybody else in the world. So we have tons of foils, so we know we've been getting, Jeremy keeps me abreast of the foils and keeps logs of it. He's getting back to you on a lot of them. So I don't know particularly which one you're saying you're not getting, but if you can be more specific and send it, we can try to address it. But that to me, I don't want to do that here. Send an email. Send it to Jeremy and say which foils are missing. He will follow up with me on it. But if you have a specific foil that's missing, put it in writing.
First, I would say I do not send tons of FOIL requests, and I think that's not fair to state that in publicly. Maybe in your opinion it's tons, but believe me, it's not tons. Second,
I'm sorry. What? In my what?
First of all, I like to say that I don't send tons of FOIL requests. That might be your opinion, but that's not actual. I could actually send you the number.
It's factual.
No,
Let's get you a number. Out of all the foils, okay, I tell you what, you are the person that foils us the most. Let's put it that way. I'll correct it.
Okay, that's accurate, but you know what? There has to be someone that does the most FOIL. It just happens to be me. That doesn't make me a bad person.
No.
And in fact,
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Did anybody say that?
No,
Did anybody say that? Did anybody say that? Did anybody say that?
You're saying
Did anybody say that?
Okay,
But
I'm sorry.
Okay,
We're
did
not
anybody
gonna
say
do
that?
this. We're not gonna do this. We're
Yeah,
not gonna,
exactly.
I'm not doing
Right.
this. Okay. So we
But-
heard what you stated.
No, but I didn't finish my question.
Roxanne, we heard what you stated. We heard your question. You had questions. John is going to address them, and we're going to move forward in your conversation. Can we move forward? Thank you.
So let's talk about the facts and the matters that be, not opinions or what you might think. So in this case, if you have a foil that hasn't been addressed, please follow up with the office. And if it hasn't been addressed, we will review it. As of right now, we have a lot of foils from you. As far as I understand, a lot of them or all of them were responded to. And if there's one or two that haven't, please notify us which ones they are and we will follow up.
Again, a lot of things that I FOIL are not even supposed to fall under FOIL. They should be just accessible to the public. But since
What's your point? I don't understand your point. What's your point? I just told you what to do. What is your point?
I understand, but every time I try to complete a sentence, you interrupt me. So how am I going to express my point? I'm saying that
we were repeating the same thing over, and I told you if there's a foil that's not addressed, we will respond to it.
I'm not referring to that. And please let me complete a sentence. I'm stating that a lot of things that I do FOIL should not even be on the FOIL. They should be accessible to the public by the city charter and by the open meetings.
What are those items?
Minutes.
Minutes are put up on the website.
Not all minutes. There were plenty of missing minutes. And if you want me to send you a list of all the missing minutes, I can do that.
You can send it to Jeremy and he'll review them and he'll put them up if they're missing.
He said they're not available.
Then I have to follow up with Jeremy and see why they're not available.
And then second, not just minutes, I request treasury reports, which should be per the city charter, should be open to the public for review. Whether it's the 2 treasury reports that done monthly, I request, and that shouldn't fall on the FOIL, but I have to do it because if I don't do it, then it's not addressed. So a lot of things I do request, like the minutes, the FOILs, letters that were sent to agencies stating the community board 11 decision on whatever matter was placed in the community or sometimes not placed in public. I asked for those letters to see what community board recommendation was to certain agencies. When I asked for that via email, it's ignored, so I have to FOIL it. So if you say I'm sending tons of FOIL, it's because my emails are ignored, so I have to FOIL it. I mean, this is the way it is. It's a catch-22.
Okay. Great. All right. We'll look at it.
And what about the violation code of conduct? When someone against the bylaws, the FOIL, what happened when a staff or board member violates the open meeting law or violates its own code of conduct?
We will review it case by case and make a decision.
No, but who do I send the complaint to? I'm asking.
The Ethics and Disciplinary Committee.
Okay, and that falls for the same violation of bylaws?
You can send it, and if it's not the appropriate forum to do it, we will forward it on to the people that need to review it.
Okay, I'm just trying to clarify, who do I send to? Because when I sent an email to the staff, when staff said, send your complaint, and when I responded, who do I send the complaint to? I got a response that, oh, you don't like our process, but I want to understand the process.
Okay.
It's not that I didn't like the process. I want to know what was the process, because saying send your complaint doesn't mean to me where or who. I just
On the
like
website there, I don't know if Jeremy's still on, but on the website, I believe there's a form with a link, and it shows the email address to send it to.
Yes, but it doesn't say, and now you just dismiss something because you say it doesn't fall under your criteria. So that's why I want to understand what is the criteria.
I said if it doesn't fall under our criteria, we will move it forward to the proper places. Right now, it will come to us. If it does not fall under our purview, then we'll move it on to someone else that can address that issue.
Okay. All right, so I think that's about it for my question. And my last thing, the nomination committee, that was done without any public meetings. And a lot of the board members have not yet been reappointed or newly appointed. So I'm wondering, how can elections be done when a nomination committee wasn't held in public and nominations were determined behind, under the veil, and also people were nominated, well, it being done in the public, because the open meeting law doesn't require the public to have input, but does require for any decision made by city agencies to be done in the public view. That wasn't done with the nomination committee. So what
All right.
the complaint?
So the nomination committee did not have a meeting at all.
No.
We were suggested certain individuals are asked to be on the nominating committee by the chair, which we agreed. And then anybody that was nominated for positions was done in the open forum. And no particular private meeting took place of the nominating committee. So the chair requested some people to sit on the nominating committee. There was no action for us to take at this moment. The nominations for the candidates that applied for the positions or requested to be under the positions were done in a public forum at the full meeting. And I don't know where you're saying there's a violation then.
Because they made a determination to nominate two certain individuals, which I won't disclose their name, but that might be a violation here. And there was not a vote on it by the committee. And any vote on any matters by a committee must be done.
I don't think it has to be voted on. Now I can follow up with Al, but Al
John,
asked people to be on it. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
we can hear you, Jeremy.
Yeah, our bylaws don't require it. The bylaws tell you what is allowed. I mean, a nomination can be made, it has to be seconded. The committee, like John said, has not met at all, to my knowledge, this year. They were formed, and that was it. They did not meet. Individual members of the committee made individual nominations. I don't believe it was. John, you didn't personally, as a group, decide to nominate anybody, right?
No, we did. We never met. So there was never any meeting of the nominating committee.
Any board member can nominate another. It's in our bylaws.
And my last question is, if a board member or staff uses the community board, which is taxpayers' resources, for electioneering or to campaign for an elected or candidate, who do I make a complaint to about this? Board of Election?
You can make it to, here's the thing. We cannot tell you if there is something that you think that we can address, we'll be happy to review it at the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee. If not, we will tell you this is not for us to review. But if there's a violation of, I mean, I don't think Board of Elections would have anything to do with this, but you can inquire with the Board of Elections if they govern anything that happens at community boards. But I don't know specifically what you're referring to.
We had this year and last year, we had board members who endorsed candidates as a community board member, and that's not, you can endorse anyone you want, but not using as the fact that you're a community board member, because community boards are supposed to be apolitical.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Roxanne, did you fill out a complaint about that?
Well, do I need to file it to that's what my question is. In
Yes.
those instances, should I make a complaint to the Ethics or Conflict of Interest Board or to the Board of Election?
Right, as John has it stated, he stated before that you would file the complaint using the form, and we will let you know if it meets the standards of this committee and where it needs to, if not, then where it needs to go.
And what are the standards? My last question. What exactly is the standards? So I can.
We just had a discussion about that. Right now, we have to see what we're going to review and what falls within our purview. It could be just board member actions, but as far as any violations of major laws or anything, obviously we can't review that. We will forward it to ask for guidance from the borough president's office and report forward it accordingly.
Okay, there's so many violations that the board does, and I know you say bylaws, but the bylaws does not trump the open meetings law, does not trump the FOIA law, and definitely does not trump the open meetings law. All of them are fall under the state law, which state trumps any city agencies rules or
Right. Okay.
regulations. Just
If you have in any way received any damages because of any of these, you have other recourses civilly to follow. But if there's just, you know what, the community board who's full of volunteers did not submit a chairperson didn't submit a minute in time, so they wasn't able to post. If someone, had to post something and they didn't, and this is all, I understand that by state law and every law that open meetings, the public is entitled to all of these documents, but I would guarantee this is not done in ill intent. We're a body of volunteers mostly, and if there's a little delay in here or there, we ask for the public's concession to at least let us do it. And if it's not there, point it out. We'll be happy to get it out there. It's not done with ill intent, and to have. I understand these laws were done for public entities that are city agencies and all of this. This community board is a board of volunteers, and we make every effort to follow every rule and regulation. And this is, there's going to be mistakes, and there's going to be continue to be mistakes. All we can do is correct them. So it's not going to be perfect, and when we point it out, we will correct them.
But the community board is funded by over $500,000 and has staff.
Ms. Delgado, I just explained to you, I'm not going to repeat myself. I said, if there's a problem, we will correct it. We are not perfect. We will make sure that it's addressed.
Board members. I'm directing at the staff for not providing, and if it happens continuing, the reason why I make those complaints, because it has to be resolved, and it continues not to be resolved. It continues to continue for years, where there needs to be a change, because it's not fair for the community, public of the community, who funds the community board level over $500,000 for office equipment, staff, luncheon, all this money, and we came in have a little transparency. If we ask for minutes, we're like treated badly, because we're asking for things that we're entitled to.
We're not asking, you're asking. And
yeah, I am asking.
Most of the public don't complain about this. So if you're right. You know what? I'm not going to say you're not right. You're right. The public is entitled to it. Nobody else has asked us for this, but you constantly have. And you know what? You're right. And that's we have to provide it to you. And if we made a mistake and wasn't there, we will provide it. We're not going to be perfect. I don't expect the staff at CB11 to be perfect. And if there's something there, you'll be glad to point it out, and we will rectify it.
And we have years of missing minutes, but okay. All right, thank you for your time. That's the end of my questions. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
I don't think anybody signed up to. Do we need a signature to sign up to speak? No, right? This is just open gallery.
All right. Yeah, we have to put that all together, I think, John.
Okay, all right. Anybody else from the gallery to speak?
Charlene would like to speak. Yeah, Ms. Jackson.
Yeah, so I would just like clarification regarding, hopefully you will send a detailed letter with regard to what standards you use to dismiss my complaint. But I would like to know about this upcoming election, because when I look at your website, it looks like there are many openings on the community board. I think I counted 16. So I don't know if this is just because your website has not been updated. And with that number of people that are not appointed, how is this okay that you can have an election? And then secondly, I'm wondering, many of the people, it shows that their term ends in 2022. So when in 2022 does their term end? And is it just automatically assumed that they will be reappointed? It just doesn't seem like how you all, even though you are volunteers, from what I understand, you are supposed to be the eyes and ears of the community and represent us. And if so many people are missing, how can you be representative of the community, and how can you operate and have elections when so many seats are unfilled? Unless, you know, what the website says is not correct.
Okay, so I will tell you, this is not the forum to do really, we're all volunteers that were appointed by either council members or other people. We're not involved in the process where, you know, if there's vacancies here, there are serving governing entities that are supposed to fill those vacancies, borough president's office, the council member. It's a good question. We can ask the chair and the governing committee, the leadership committee, but as the discussion, I think your questions are very good questions. So, but this is not the forum, or are we able to, or have a full knowledge set to answer that question here in this committee? So that's a great
So it
question.
sounds like, if I understand you correctly, even though a substantial number of members of the board have not been appointed for whatever reason, you'll just go ahead with the election on June 23rd? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Again, what I'm saying is, I don't have the answers to those questions. I understand you're cornering me into a situation here where
Oh,
you
no,
want me
you
to
can
answer
say
yes.
yes or no. And if you
I have
can't
no clue.
answer,
You know what? I
okay,
don't know. I don't know if it's. I'm telling you, I don't know. So
okay.
that's one of the answers. And what I'm saying is, I'm not clear that if there's so many vacancies, can they have an election? I'm not here to answer that question. Nor do I have the knowledge to answer that question.
Okay.
But if I had to presume something, you know what? We had a very tough couple of years with COVID and all of these things, and so um, vacancies are not only apparent in community boards, vacancies are everywhere you can look at. So,
Seriously.
so if there's vacancies there, I don't know if it's not updated. I don't know if the elected officials, due to the recent elections last year with the council members, the VP's office, if they haven't gotten around to elect new people. Unfortunately, community boards aren't somewhere where people just run in and try to do it. I mean, I was asked to be on the community board by an elected official, and as a part of volunteering, I figured I'd do it. I didn't actively pursue to be a community board, but I am a member of the community for the last 20 years in Community Board 11, raised my children here, and I said, oh, what a great opportunity to give back. So that's why I'm here, and it's a totally different thing than what I signed up for, I'll tell you that. But I don't know the answers exactly to those questions, but you know, we're not the
So
experts
you
at the
don't know
community board.
the so I'm sorry, there's
I've been
noise
here. I've been
outside.
here less than a year. I've been
Right.
here. I've been here less than a year.
I
So
think,
I just want to get a clear answer. So you're saying that you don't know the answer to my questions? And do you know who I can go to get the answer from, or you don't?
You can go to you can either talk to Al, who's the chair, who's been around a long time, or you can ask the borough president's office why this community board hasn't have people that has all these vacancies. Um, you know,
And
after the
you don't
last
know
year,
the dates, you don't know the dates when terms actually expire either.
it's I don't think it's my responsibility to know those
Okay,
dates, so I
I'm
don't.
just
So
asking. If you
no, I
don't
don't.
know and it's not your responsibility, then
Let me,
Right,
let me just
it's
add,
not.
thank you.
let me just add that I don't know whether the web page is updated. What I do know is for us to be able to have a meeting at the community board, we have to have quorum. If we have quorum, and then we can vote on whatever issue comes before the board.
So that should a quorum should suffice to do anything then. So that would be an answer.
correct.
Yes,
All right, who answered that?
it's Ellie Rodriguez. like they.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, anything else to follow up on? Any old business
Yeah,
to
I'm
follow
sorry.
up?
I have one last question, please, because I didn't bring it up because I was interrupted. If a board member wants something, they still have to do it in the public view, yet constantly they're bypassing the committee and bringing it to the full board, so it's not review. Who do I make a complaint to about that? Because you have
I
to
have
go.
no clue what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Give me a specific. A board
Well, I don't
member
want to
does something and
because
it's
I'm
quiet.
afraid. Let's
Yeah,
say, I'm going to get specific and not mention any names. Let's say a current board member wants a street converted to one-way. And they got the letter from the DOT saying that it's feasible, but not necessary. Per the public hearing, we voted on having a study done. And once the study was completed, the board and the public was going to review the data before the board made any decision. Yet the committee did not review that data, nor was that data provided to the public. And that motion is going to be put on the full board and it's going to be passed. How is it that the board continues circumventing the public to push for things that board members want, whether it's a street co-naming, turning a street into a one-way conversion? And
all right,
other
so can I ask you something? So you keep saying the board and the public. We are the public. We are the people that live in this neighborhood. We want the best for our community. So that line between community board member and public, we are on the community board because we are the public. We are part of this community, you know? So the differentiation shouldn't be that much. Number one. And number two, not every member of the public disagrees with it. You can't say as much as, you know? So if there's a decision that's done by the community board, who are members of the public who are put on this board, you know what? It should pertain to the public, and not everybody in the public's going to be happy with the decision. So I'm sure it's just as many people who don't want it also. So I can't say that. So we can't be there while members of the public are left out. We are also members of the public. We take everybody's opinion. We take everybody's, but not everybody's going to be happy with the final decision. That's where it is.
I'm just saying public, so I could differentiate between board members and public. I'm not saying you're not.
There is no difference. There is no. We are members of the public. We are members of the public. We are members of the public who are elected to these positions to help our neighborhood. So we're not here some devious plan to do anything in these neighborhoods. We came here to help, and we waste our time on this kind of stuff.
Okay,
it's
so
amazing.
how can non-board members be happy or unhappy with board members' decisions when there was no hearing held and the decision are made where non-board members of the public are not part of the
I can't qualify that. I don't know any factual that happened
Well,
or not. I don't know.
The one-way street.
I don't know.
Conversion.
Okay, I don't know if a private meeting was held with a, you know, anonymous bunch of people in cloaks making a decision. That's what it sounds like.
I said no public meeting was held. I don't know what was held privately. I'm saying no
So
public.
Was this discussed in a full board meeting?
No, it's going to be discussed at this full board meeting, but they bypassed the committee meeting again. So the public did not have a chance.
Again, Roxanne, Ms. Delgado, let me ask you something. What is your, so your question is, I'm confused. Your question is, why wasn't it brought to the public, but it was brought to the public, but not brought to the public in a committee, but then brought somewhere else? What is your point? What is it that the members of the public, obviously you knew about it, and members of the public know about it, the community board knew about it. There was something done, a study done or whatever, people made a decision and then move forward. Not everybody's going to be happy. People knew about it. Obviously, public knew about it. Who else is in the public that needed to know about it? You knew about it, right?
I only knew about it because I asked about it last night, and I asked when are we going to have the review, and then I heard the one of the staff members stated, "Oh, it's going to go to the full board." I said, "How can it go to the full board when it was never held in the committee for public review?" And when I say public review, I'm including non-board members.
Okay, let me ask you a question. It could be reviewed in public review. I mean, the public full board meeting. I mean, Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
It's not reviewing full board meetings.
So hold on. The staff, we have to review. The staff member may have misspoke. I don't know. I wasn't at the meeting, but I don't know if that's correct. Actual information.
So you know what? Was it discussed in committee? I don't know.
No, it was not. It was not. I brought it up to see when will it be discussed. It was the last meeting before breaks for summer, and they said that it would go straight to the full board. But we both know the full board does not review it with the agency and with the public. It's where we review it in committee level, and we were never given an opportunity. I'm not saying you help private meetings with cloaks and daggers. I never said that. No one said that. I said there was no.
That's your intention. That's what it. Listen, what is the
No.
what is your intention? What do you want to see?
My
That the meeting
intention
wasn't
is
held, but then you know what? We're going to discuss it in the full board meeting, and you could, if you disagree with it there, you could have an opportunity to make your complaint there.
But okay, but my intention, my agenda, my my whatever you want to refer to, is that it must be done in public view, because board members
It
are
is.
not.
It's gonna be at the full board meeting.
Yeah, but at the full board meeting, we never have a time. The public does not have input because it goes from public.
Of course it does. You got the gallery first.
With 2 minutes limit, and then we don't even review the data.
Express it in 2 minutes that you don't want it. Take more than 2 minutes to
Data has
express
not
that you
been
don't want it.
provided. Data has not been provided to
Well,
us.
from what I understand, the board didn't have the data, and recently they requested the study, and as soon as they send it, they'll make it public. The board wasn't hiding it; they didn't have it.
Well, then how
That's
could
as far as I understand.
how can the board make a decision when they don't even have the data?
Board didn't make a decision. It's going to be discussed at the next full board meeting. Board hasn't made a decision.
But
And
we
then
should have we should have a data first, and the community board should have the data first before they make.
It should be, could be. We will make that decision how it was done, but it hasn't been decided on. So when we review it, we'll take a look.
I'm sorry. Some of these questions, I'm a little confused because I don't think they belong here.
It doesn't, but
These are structural.
Yeah.
No, these are structural questions that don't belong in an ethics and disciplinary committee meeting.
Where do they belong then?
Look, this is if they're saying that something was violated, then we can discuss it here. But as far as when subject matters of its treatment, then why does it do that? Why? I'm not here to look. If it violated a particular code of conduct or something like that, fine. If it's a matter of procedure, I'm not the expert. But if there is a matter of procedure, a complaint can be put in. I can go to the experts and say, hey, listen, either borough president's office or to Al and say, look, is this right? Is it proper? I can do that. But to be pelted with this, where there's no damages to anything, you know what? The decision wasn't made for the one way, and not, listen, it could go.
Hello, John? John? Okay.
But on that, can do that at the full board meeting.
John, we lost some of what you had to say. Can you start again?
Sorry, my other phone went off. Look, the decision hasn't been made. We can nitpick on all the things that if it's a one way and it's a decision to make it one way, they'll review the data once we have it, and the board and the members of the public have an opportunity to make their peace with it or say their point on it, which is perfectly fine. But a decision is going to be made, and not everybody's going to be happy. That's just the truth of the matter.
Hey, John.
I wasn't.
This is Yahe.
I actually gave you
Yahe.
an example. You tell me, give me an example, and I gave you an example, and now you're saying I'm pelting with you, but I just responded to your request. And lastly, again, I'm saying that why is it that we, the public, cannot review the data?
Okay, you're not the only person in the public. You're the only person that has this complaint. The public has not complained. If there was a whole crew of people standing out here complaining, you're the constant one that only complains. So you're the only member of the public? Absolutely not. We are members of the public. You got to stop saying the members. We are the public.
I'm talking about non-board member public.
It doesn't matter.
Right,
We're still the public. The intention of the board is to get a team together that's in the public to come here and have a formal meeting. You know what? Members of the public are always invited. You're here because of that. That members of the public can be here.
Certain issues like St. Teresa Plaza, the one-way conversion.
Just because you didn't get what you want didn't mean that the members of the public didn't discuss. No, you constantly.
Wait.
Sick
I
of
don't
this
think we're
shit.
hearing each. No, wait. We're not hearing each other. Okay. Can I say this, Roxanne? Can I say? I think you bring up very good points. Okay, but they're procedural points. Okay, that has to do with procedure. So we are not experts on the procedure of what you're asking a question about. So you can, by all means, email your, or put your put something in an email and say, I have a concern about this, and then we can read it and say, and maybe, and speak to someone and say, where does this go? Who would address this? And they will email you back, because we cannot help you. That's why we cannot assist you at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. But again, it's not because I
Holy
didn't get
shit.
what I want. Only one is a public hearing. This constant thing that I want something, I
This
have
whole
nothing
board
to
is
do.
public. This whole board, that's the whole purpose.
Again,
We have
I'm
we
talking
have
about
we have we have
non-board
community
members.
board meetings. We have full board meetings. We have all these meetings that you're constantly at. So you hear about it over and over. So I don't understand. You're not
I
the
don't know why
only
you keep
member of the
saying
public.
constant.
You're not the only member of the public. We're also the public. We are alerted. We make
Again, I'm
decisions.
speaking
Just
as a
because
non.
just because you didn't get what you want doesn't mean the public wasn't listened to.
What did I want? All I wanted was a public hearing. What do I want?
Here you
Okay, so
go.
okay,
John,
that's
You know
okay.
what?
That's a
Let's
one
close
that
this. Let's
we
close
need to
this. We're gonna
talk
go in
about
circles with her
via
all night.
email.
Because
We'll go in
okay,
circles with her all night.
Yahe would
We're
like to
done.
speak. Yahe would like to
yeah.
speak. Thank you.
All right, I know you want to close the subject. Give me 30 seconds just to clarify everything before we move on. The one-way street conversion, I made the request after numerous members of the community asked for that. It wasn't just me.
You mean the public? The public actually asked for it? Jesus.
Yeah,
I guess they
and
had input.
actually we had probably 150 members of the public signed a petition asking for the street to be
That's
converted to
awesome. Not
one-way.
just one?
Yeah, and
100. That's right.
we brought it up to the committee. The committee did a public hearing. There was a public hearing. A lot of the members that were on the call, some of them were business owners. They were for the street conversion to one way. I know Ms. Delgado was there and she was opposed to it, which is fine. I know she doesn't drive. I know she doesn't live in that area. I drive. I live in the area, so I know the impact to the community. When they came up to me and asked for it, what I do is I take their concerns, whoever it is. If it's a concern on East Tremont, I'll take it and bring it to the board. We brought it to the board. We did the public hearing. We provided a recommendation to convert it to one way. It was reviewed by the city. The city came back and said, we agree. It should be converted to a one-way street. So it's not like we made it up. It's actually the city. We didn't have to convince the city. They did their own independent study away from the community board, away from community board members' inputs or anything like that. So that was the outcome of it. I just wanted to state it for the record.
Thank you.
No, but the DOT said that it was not necessary, but feasible. It only be done because community board asked for it. And
Right,
second,
but
the hearing was to have a study on it. It was never to vote on a one way. They said that after the rabbi, the chair of DOT said after the study is done, they will review with the public the data to determine whether they would go with the DOT's recommendation, whatever recommendation was found by the study. And the study found that it was not necessary, but it's feasible. And if the community board wants it, they'll do it. But they themselves are not doing it. And what's wrong with having a public hearing? It's not that they get why.
Again, we're going in circles here. Can we end this meeting?
I mean, the hostility is
Jesus.
unbelievable.
Now you should look up the word hostility. It'd be a totally different. I think I sent you the definition. All right. What else we got? We got any old business?
Let's Ms. Jackson wants to say something.
I just want to make it very clear that it's not an issue of what one person wants or some people want this and other people don't. What it's a matter of for me is fairness. And if there are certain rules and regulations that are posted and are supposed to be followed, then that should be consistently. When the rules are followed sometimes, but not other times, that's what leads to a sense of unfairness and ethical issues. And I don't get it. Like it clearly says in your rules that are posted that there should not be name calling. We just had somebody curse. I don't understand why that has to happen to communicate. And then it's ignored as if this is not going on. And it's not right. You guys, to me, are leaders within the community. And I feel a lot of hostility here sitting.
Look, the hostility is brought about by, look, we are a board, we're a people that got together to help our community. And you know what? Our intention is not to break any rules or laws, but there are people with agendas that show up and all they got to do is this in their life. I don't understand what that is, but we're not doing anything positive here. And you know what? I'm really considering leaving this board because unfortunately there are individuals out there that won't take the benefit of the positive things that I can do for my community because all they do is sit on a perch and complain. So you know what? It's just horrifying. It's just very, very depressing to even hear this kind of stuff because we all signed up to do something good. And you know what? People prevent us from doing that. So you know what? You can do whatever you want. I mean, at this point, I'll talk to Jeremy later, but it's not really what I signed up to do. For years, I've done positive things for the community. I've done great things, but it's just at this is like you're getting. It's just like demeaning at some point. It's like none of us are here to hurt anybody. And if the minutes weren't done, or if all these and I guarantee you, not everybody's following every procedure by the book, but we do the best that we can. And but to sit there and nitpick, and there's no damage, is simple for the purpose of, oh, you didn't follow the rule. Was anybody hurt? Did you? How can we rectify that? We will. But no, you just didn't follow it. Okay, you know what? You're right. You're right. But it was not our intention to hurt anyone by it. Our intention was to just, it's just very frustrating to come to this, and this is really not what I signed up for.
My
So
agenda is to make this board equitable and fair. And
yeah, your
also,
agenda is to destroy the board. So
oh
at
my
this
God,
point, you know
you
what?
are really
It's fine.
very.
I'm done. I'm done. Let's just keep it
For
moving
the
because nothing productive is going to come out here because all it is it's just a waste at
and
this
the harm
point. It's
is
just
that
like,
decisions are being made while public input. That is the harm that's being done.
all right, that's great. All right, I think Yahe just went through the whole thing and destroyed what you said. So let's just keep it moving. Any old business?
But decisions are being made while public input.
Any
That's the harm.
any old business? Okay, great. New business. We do have a new complaint. It just came in today. We will review it. I didn't get a chance to look through it fully. I think it needs a little bit more details. Naomi and the team, but I don't know, Naomi, if you guys have a chance to take a look over it, and
Yes,
just let me know
I
how to
feel,
follow up.
yeah, I just don't feel it meets the standards as well, but like I said, we could talk about it if you want.
Yeah, and I there's no detail in it, so I don't understand it. I mean, it's very vague. If there was any more, we need more detail. There's like, it was like this was wrong. What was wrong? I don't know what was the action at hand. So we can take a look at that. We'll review it maybe at our next meeting. We can take a look at it and discuss it at then. So we can get some more information.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, great. All right, it is now 8:19. I said we close the meeting. Anybody
Okay,
second that?
I second.
Great. All right, people. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.